My keys were in the pocket, my pocket, by the way, underneath a bunch of junk.
I've been there.
Yep. Just called airhead.
Oh.
We got on tape now, and the whole Easthampton,
I
I know.
locked
Yeah.
myself
You wanna
out of my
press the-
car.
We did,
And my-
okay.
Yeah,
And after
yes,
getting
we're
everybody
good.
all
We're good,
around,
right?
We're
Okay.
recording.
Okay.
calling the police and everything else, I found him in
Good
my
morning.
You're getting the gavel.
What do you want?
I'm calling this meeting
To
of
order.
the Easthampton Commission on Disability for October 1st, 2019 to order.
Good. Proud of you.
Okay. Page entitled What We Are is the original page that came with the survey. The highlighted, the italicized print is what I'm suggesting that we remove because it's redundant. On the flip side of that is Alita's suggestions for what we should remove, or how it should be.
Oh, yeah, the first page there.
Yeah, that's introduction, front page, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'm fine with getting rid of the italicized parts, but I think this other information people need to know, like what will we do with this information? What to do if you need assistance, all that stuff. I think we need that.
Well, this one has the short one has what to do, what we're gonna do with it. You know, it says that we're using this information to better identify the challenges that disabled people face in our city. And this information will be used to develop plans and support our request for grants and funding in order to improve the accommodations for our community.
Oh, okay.
So half of that thing is about that.
But
Can you read it okay?
It's a little small, but I can read it.
Because I could read it aloud if that would be helpful.
I forgot to change the font on your side.
Okay, well, yeah, I see your point. I think we still need that to tell people that it's anonymous.
It's in there.
This one
It
does.
is? Why, I didn't
Okay,
see
I'm
it.
gonna start on
Right
the little
here
paragraph.
and hers.
This survey is being offered to our community through the Easthampton Commission on Disability. We hope to better identify the challenges that disabled people face in our city. The data collected will be used to develop plans and support our requests for grants and funding in order to improve the accommodations for our community. This survey is completely anonymous and does not require your name nor the name of the person assisting you with filling it out. Paper copies may be provided in large print upon request. Thank you for your time and participation.
Okay, yeah, I guess that does have everything we need. So yeah. I would go with that, except that we, instead of saying upon request, we really need to tell people who to contact.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who are they gonna request that from? You okay?
We just had a big debate, like, conversation before you got here, before we started recording. So, before, yeah.
There will be links for the appropriate people to contact with any of the things
Okay.
that are on here that say there are links below or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, so I say we go with Alita's version.
God, I'm shaking.
What about this big thing here, about the point of view?
About the what?
The point of view, that if you're a care provider,
Oh.
we assume, like, do we need that? Should we have
You
that?
know, most medical papers and things like different benefits and stuff you apply for, it always, at the bottom where you sign it, it always has a place for the signature of whoever helped fill out that application or whatever.
Right,
okay?
representative or.
So we could, to accommodate that, we could just, at the bottom, well, we're not gonna have them sign it, are we?
No, we're not.
No.
No, I
Okay.
think that's fine the way it is. It's just,
Most people that fill out stuff that are caregivers and things already know how all that works.
That's, in any situation where the care provider is filling out paperwork for any kind of benefits, they have to be identified.
Right.
In case there are any questions.
Right.
There are no benefits involved with this, so it's not a,
yeah, I
And they
think
don't
that,
really need to be identified then, do they?
correct.
Okay.
That's why the
but we
state,
need that instruction for the person who may be taking this, or is completing this survey for someone else.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm saying we should leave that in.
I think we should too.
So the part where it says, if you are a care provider, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
leave that paragraph in.
Mhm.
Does everybody agree?
I don't think it's necessary, but I don't have a problem with putting it.
That's the way I feel exactly.
Yeah. Except, right, I circled something. Yeah, except where it says, your responses reflect the needs of the individual involved. That's kind of weird language. I mean, why can't we just say like your client? Or your ward, or something like that?
Well, personally, I feel if someone's gonna fill it out, unless they are the disabled person, or a disabled person filling it out for themselves, they're going to automatically fill it out based on the person that they're helping.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just, the language, the needs of the individual involved.
Well, because
It's kind of-
individual involved is a very broad thing. If we're calling it a client, that means
You're a professional.
that's a different relationship
Yeah, if,
than a caregiver or a brother or a parent or, you know.
yeah, if
It
my
may
daughter,
not be somebody who has the status of that's my client.
right,
Yeah.
if my daughter fills it out
That's
on
true.
behalf of her son,
Right.
Yeah, that's
individual
true.
fits.
I mean, but, I don't know, is there a way to say that that's not so vague?
Yeah, I think individual involved.
I mean,
But if
involved in
people
what?
eat
Like
their breakfast, it's
everyone
fine.
is an individual. Like,
The individual involved in your filling out the survey.
so then can we say the person you're filling out the survey for?
So you're saying the same thing with a different word.
No,
Yeah, he doesn't like the way it sounds, yeah.
Do you want to
I'm just
change
saying
it
like individual.
to the needs of the person you're filling it out for,
Yeah, like something that.
as
yeah.
opposed to the individual involved?
Right. I just think that if I was reading this, I'd have to like stare at that for a while to figure out what that meant, like the individual. I mean, everyone's an individual, involved in what? I mean, instead of like just saying more clearly who we were talking about.
Can we say disabled individual?
Let's just
Yeah.
get rid of that paragraph.
Alita.
It's not necessary,
What's not necessary?
that whole paragraph.
And why not?
Because if you're helping someone, you know that they need the help, and that's why you're helping them, regardless of what your relationship is. You're not going to fill it out based on your experiences, you're going to fill it out based on the person you're helping.
Yes.
I think pretty much everybody knows that. And this is just sort of saying, you know, that if you help somebody, it better not be for yourself, it better be for them. And then we get all these issues of how to describe the individual involved or whatever wording. That's what I think, okay, and I'm just gonna leave it right there. You are so defensive about this whole thing.
I brought this up, I don't know, at some meeting because the questions at that time, and it may be different now, seemed to be asking me as the person filling it out for my grandson. to answer for me. And it was because of the way the question or questions were presented. And that's why I brought this up, that, you know, who are we asking to complete this survey? So I think this makes it clear that if I'm doing it for him, then I have to put myself in his place.
Yeah, so how about this? If you are completing this survey on behalf of someone of someone else, we assume that your responses reflect the needs of that person.
The needs of that.
And we could literally say that individual. Your responses reflect the needs of that individual.
But why
And
don't we just,
I mean, that's grammatically correct.
Yeah.
why don't we just say your responses reflect the needs of, let's see, it was in my head a minute ago, the disabled, the person with a disability, which is the correct way, the needs of the person with a disability for whom you're completing this, or, but instead of individual, the person with a disability,
Okay.
because that would be consistent with the rest of
Okay.
it.
How about, I'm not going to read the first part, but we assume that your responses reflect the needs of that person, and we thank you for your assistance. Because we've offered the first aid.
Oh,
minutes.
yes,
If you-
okay.
If you're a care
Right.
provider, or
Right,
if you are a care provider completing the survey
Okay.
on behalf of someone with a disability, we assume that your responses reflect the needs of that person, and we thank you. Okay?
Okay, cool.
good.
Yep.
So everybody is okay with taking out the italicized stuff? That part's a done deal?
Where are you talking about? Oh, up there.
The italicized parts
I was
are to
thinking
be
parentheses.
removed.
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So also, I have a lot of like small corrections, but because you don't have your computer, like maybe just wait.
Where are you now?
Well, I'm talking about all throughout.
Okay. Can we finish with page 1 first?
Sure.
Okay. So with the italicized things removed, is the rest of the first page okay along with that change of phrase? Are we going to keep the paragraph, what will we do with the information?
Yeah, I think that's important.
And then the paragraph about if you're a care provider completing? Yes?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Reading.
I wonder, oh, no, that's out anyway.
Yeah. So this last, the paper copies, that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Can we make that something like, um, paper, paper copies including large print and easy read formats, can be obtained by, and then a blank that we can fill in later if we don't know how we want them to obtain it.
Are they gonna be able to request it online?
Should be able to.
Then why don't you just put a little click here for copies?
Because it may say something else.
Is the person with,
The person putting this into the computer for the survey will decide at the time of putting it in what it's going to say to access whatever we want to have available.
some people may just want a paper copy rather than doing it online.
Mhm. Okay, so the first page is good as we've amended it today. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. On to the survey.
So, yeah, so I wanted to, for minor changes, should I point them out now, or should I
Sure.
wait until you have your computer?
You know, point them out now.
Okay. So, all right, so in that case, so right here, there shouldn't be a colon. Oh, so, wait, first, so,
What should there be there?
so a wide range of factors, comma,
Okay.
including, and then get rid of the colon. And then all these capitals shouldn't be here.
I see what you're saying. Those, it's because they had on the original, they had this as a list, a bulleted list.
Right.
So that's why they came out caps. All right.
And then comma before et cetera.
Okay.
And then, in items 3 and 4, there's a period missing at the end.
I would say it doesn't need a period at all.
Yeah.
Which is sentence, right?
Please state your ethnicity.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
sentence, it should
All
end
right.
with a period. All right, and then developmental disability, capitalize, either capitalize both of them or neither.
Got it.
Angelique just brought up another grammatical
What?
thing. You seem to have a very good background in grammar and
Oh,
English.
thank you.
What do you think about this? She questioned, and I agree, we want to look at how different groups of people with a disability experience life in Easthampton, period.
Where are you reading?
Well,
Section 1, about you.
Yeah, because it's two
All right.
two complete
just-
sentences. If anything, it should be a semicolon or made into two complete sentences
Yeah,
to
just
be
leave it
grammatically
period.
Because it's very,
correct.
very long, yes.
Yeah,
no idea what you're
Like
talking
therefore,
It's
we are,
grammatically incorrect.
I have no idea what you're
Okay.
talking about.
the second, first
That is
sentence,
it.
second sentence.
What is
It's-
grammatically incorrect?
It's too
It
long.
It needs to be two
You
sentences.
have two complete sentences joined by and.
Yeah, well, that, I think that's,
We want to look at blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
And so we are
Period.
looking at a wide range of factors, including blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Those are two complete sentences. Do you see them?
Yes.
They need
Okay.
to be.
It should either be one of those semicolons indicating they're two separate sentences, or it should be two separate sentences. Not, experience life in Easthampton, comma, and so blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, it's legal, I mean, that's what conjunctions are for, but I think it would be easier to read if it was two separate sentences.
And the second sentence should say, it should begin with, we are looking, rather than
All right, so period after Easthampton,
Yeah,
get rid of and so,
Yeah.
we are looking at, new sentence.
Yeah.
Get rid of the colon, oscopy.
oh,
I'm sorry, I'm a nurse.
I just had
So,
one of those.
wide
Don't
range
bring
of-
up that memory.
You bet.
Okay,
We're looking at a wide
recording,
range
I'm
of
recording.
factors.
Forgot. Oh, geez.
What goes after the word factors?
comma,
include.
Get rid of the word including,
Yeah,
or keep it
no, keep including, and then,
Just
with no
as in-
punctuation after it.
Including.
we are
Right.
looking at a wide range of factors, including semicolon or whatever they call that thing.
Okay, so, you know,
Nothing after factors. You don't need anything after factors.
He's saying you do. That's what. We should all take a 3-minute walk.
Do you think we do?
Wide range of factors.
I'm not arguing the punctuation here.
Well, no, including is correct because at the end of that, we have et cetera.
right, so,
So,
you're right, we don't need et cetera if we have including, that, yeah, you're right.
How
No,
about
we
if I
have-
change it to including but not limited to?
Even with you guys.
And then we can get rid of the et cetera.
Okay,
I'd rather have the et cetera, it's shorter.
okay, then it would be factors, comma, such as, I don't know, I think would be a wide, well, then you would get rid of a wide range of factors. It would be, we are looking at gender, sexual orientation, et cetera.
Why do we
Well-
need all that in the first place?
Because they really want to be extra inclusive.
Well,
No, I
sexual
think-
We are-
orientation is not a disability.
We can get rid of the word including altogether.
And we don't really need to know what their sexual orientation is or their ethnicity.
So you're saying we don't need this paragraph at all, then?
I would think we just need gender and age,
uh,
and then describe your disability.
I think that first sentence we do need, we want to look at, et cetera.
What first sentence?
Of that paragraph, I mean,
We're not talking about the paragraph.
no, Eli just said, do we need that paragraph?
Right.
And I said, I
we
think
do. Yeah.
we need that first sentence
Oh, the
at
first
least.
sentence, but not the, we are looking at a wide range of factors, that part, we,
Right, so
We can
sexual
do it.
orientation.
I have no
Okay.
problem with that sentence, except I agree sexual orientation shouldn't be there because
It's got nothing to do with anything.
it doesn't, it doesn't impact disability.
Same thing with
Access.
that.
Well,
I
except,
mean, maybe
except
it does.
if you consider, and it says we're looking at a wide range of factors.
Well, that's true.
If you
do have
consider that a
bullying
person
in
who's got some sort of a disability as well as a gender identity issue might be subjected to more
Different
difficulties than a
things.
person who's only
That's-
there. You're right,
disabled.
because
Yeah.
later on you've got bullying. Have you experienced bullying?
Yeah.
Right,
So
so that-
that's definitely something that could be.
yeah. So I think, yeah,
Okay.
I think that's true, but I don't think we need to say that, I think the questions themselves say that. I mean, we can say, if you wanna say it, we can say it, but just as long as we do it grammatically.
I agree. Doesn't matter what we say, let's just say it grammatically.
All right, so
I need the
Properly punctuated.
we are looking at a wide range of factors, including, the word including there or no?
So so if you want the et cetera on the end, then we should get rid of a wide range of factors including, and just say we are looking at, and then the list with et cetera at the end.
So we're gonna go from we're looking at to which word?
So we are looking at gender, sexual orientation,
All right.
blah, 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 blah,
Is
blah.
that good with everybody?
Is it cetera there because
No.
we're not including everything?
No.
Like, because some of it is location, some of it is,
No, because we're not looking, that would mean we're looking at specifically,
You're right.
and what we're doing is just looking at a wide range of factors that may
that may
Effect.
include.
That we probably won't have
Can
any
you
effect
say-
on or can do anything about.
Right.
Yes, I
Then-
understand.
Can you say that may include?
Well, then we should get rid of the et cetera.
You know what?
Say.
If you want to get down to it, gender, only because if we're looking at homelessness for people, some homeless things are only for one sex or the other, or for
Okay.
families, or whatever. Same thing with age, okay?
Mhm.
Any of the other stuff, yeah, they might get bullied, but they might get bullied because they have a big nose or droopy ears. You know, we don't need to know all that, because we're not gonna be able to control the bullying. And it's
well,
not gonna
I
affect
disagree.
anything that, it's not gonna affect anything that we can impact.
Yeah, no,
I
I
disagree.
disagree, yeah.
If people are being bullied, they can be educated.
And
Good luck.
well, and we ask, do you, if you are bullied, do you know who to go to get help, or I forget how it's worded? And does your school or place of work have?
Well, we have those
Assistant.
questions in there.
Yes, I know, that's why I'm saying, I think it definitely, bullying is something we may be able to impact.
There's a lot of bullying programs already in place, like in the schools. Whether they're enforced or effective is a whole nother story.
Well, right, and that's what we
Exactly.
want to know,
We're gonna get involved with the school and their programs for bullying.
maybe.
We want, yeah,
Well,
you
first of all,
know,
we already got the state doing that, okay? Because of the racial issues that were occurring, what, a year ago, 2 years ago? And there was complaints and the state came in, assessed it, and the superintendent and all, is this all true?
I knew some people involved, so I kept out of it. How about that? I don't
Okay.
even like
Well,
updates.
the superintendent
the point remains that,
quit or resigned or whatever, and there's a new one.
Mhm.
And from what I understand, and I'm not sure it's accurate, this all has to do with the bullying stuff not being enforced or whatever.
Right, but
And
there
I
still could be a
don't-
problem, and we would want to know, and we
There
would
is.
find out about
There's a
it.
problem.
I don't, because we have so much to do now that we will be 80, 90,000 years old by the time we get to the point where
Well-
we can take care of bullying.
Well, the other thing is, we
It's
don't
not
have,
realistic.
we won't be able to respond to every bit of problem that we
I
find
think
through
I
the
know.
survey, but we may be able to, we will be able to respond to some of it.
Yeah, so you're saying get the information in
Yeah.
case,
Right,
and you're having anxiety because we
What
got
we
so much
will
on our
be-
list
I-
already.
and we,
I think we're creating more things to do that we can't possibly address. We haven't really we haven't really addressed anything.
It did say there
You
were
wanna know
9
the truth.
openings for the
We made
Commission
a
on
couple of
Disability,
pamphlets
so
nobody could find.
online it said 9
they're
vacancies.
right
Yes,
So
outside
you
I-
never know who
the
comes
door.
on. We had somebody
Okay,
from
well, they are
the
now,
chair
then.
at one
They
point.
weren't, they haven't been there up until
I say get the
recently.
information,
yeah,
and
just,
then you never know.
right,
Who's
exactly,
there
just
while.
because it's here and we may find out nobody has any problem.
you know, the
somebody
purpose of collecting the information is to find out
Mhm.
what the problems are. Whether or not there are things in place already to address those problems, the information will
Right.
let us know whether or not those things that are in place are actually addressing the problems.
And we don't have to provide the
Right.
solution.
That's
We can just point it out to,
Well, good, why don't you just ask them if their car runs, and do they have enough groceries at home, and all the other problems they might have. Let me know when you're done with the survey, okay?
Okay. All right, so
we really need to publicize that we need more members. That's,
I can't imagine what a, pardon my French.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
What a mess this
Yeah.
would be with more members.
well,
Yeah, I was just looking this morning and I didn't
Okay.
know we had 9 vacancies. I didn't know we could
I
have
didn't
that many
either.
people. That's amazing.
All right, so what are we doing with this paragraph?
So you wanted et cetera out of there.
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm assuming we don't wanna change the meaning of it or anything, I would just get rid of it, I would get rid of et cetera.
How would the sentence read?
Okay, it would read, we are looking at a wide range of factors, comma, including gender, sexual orientation, age, ethnic origin, disability, employment status, housing situation, education, household income, period.
And
Oh,
are
I
those,
see.
Oh, and household income.
are those the only ones? If we take out the et cetera, that means those are the only.
He's saying-
No, it doesn't, because including means that it's not necessarily complete.
Okay.
That there could be others. Or
I don't know.
You said earlier, I think you said including but not limited to or something, and that actually covers it.
Mhm.
If you're, my opinion, if you're willing to include more things that are listed, you need to either have a statement such as including but not limited to, or the word et cetera, to indicate that there are other possibilities.
Yeah, that's why I don't object
Right.
to et cetera, but if that,
Well,
everybody
it's
wants
just,
to
I think
change
if you
it's
it.
say
dramatically.
including and et cetera, that's redundant.
Then let's get rid of the word including.
Well, who said it?
Then you would have to say such as.
And leave the word et cetera. Or change the word including to such as.
Right, and that,
Okay.
that means that's,
Okay, sure,
because
such
that,
as.
that implies that it's not positive. No, I'm saying that's good,
Yeah, no.
because
just-
that implies that this list is not
Not all inclusive.
right.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
we're
sure.
good. Stamp
Okay.
of approval.
All right, so gender, age, your ethnicity, sexual orientation,
And these will be drop-down boxes?
pardon?
These will be drop-down boxes?
No, it's
This is
a
just
line.
a
okay.
description.
Just state your gender, you know.
Okay.
Maybe we don't need sexual orientation, but,
They can fill it in if they want?
you know, and then the other one
Do you
that
feel it applies?
I was wondering about was ethnicity. Is that something that you feel, I'm kind of up in the air
Right.
about it.
At first I thought no, but then when they said the discrimination, bullying piece, then we have to
Okay,
leave
so
it in
we'll leave
there.
those both in.
Mhm.
And how would you describe your disability? Check all that apply.
Yeah, so I thought we agreed to
But unseen.
change the unseen thing.
We did.
And what are we changing it to?
To get it out of that question, and
Yeah.
then have a question about like, you know, about like whether people perceive you to have a disability.
Yeah, I think that was like 6A, and then unseen or invisible is gonna be 6B or something like that.
So we're going to get rid of the specific term unseen or invisible disability
From that
It's
question,
just gonna be separate,
and put it where?
right under it, I
in
guess.
another
Do
question.
you consider?
So
it
5A would be, do you have an unseen or invisible disability such as?
Mhm.
Or the list and then et cetera?
I mean, I don't know, I don't know why, I don't see why we would put the list, because any disability can be unseen.
Overall,
Correct.
I think we've spent hours.
Yeah,
Learning disabilities are unseen, mental health and emotional disabilities are
Right, I
unseen,
think-
sensory disabilities can be unseen.
yeah, I mean, they can, or they might, or they might not be.
Mhm.
Right.
I thought we were gonna say, do you also consider, or something like that, there was some wording that you had used. When you put it separately, do you consider that disability to be unseen? when it was separate?
I don't remember what I said before, but now I would say something like, I don't know, is your disability, like,
Do you consider your disability unseen? Is that okay or no?
sure, yeah, it's okay.
What's wrong with how would you describe?
Yeah, so.
Aren't you saying the same thing?
What?
Aren't you saying the same thing?
That
what's
was the
wrong with
argument.
how do you describe your disability?
Except that unseen is a different category from all the other options.
How?
Okay, developmental disability, learning disability, mental health, sensory disability, those are all like how like what type of
Labeled.
condition you
Labeled,
have.
Yeah.
Unseen is about how other people perceive you.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Not when the question says, how would you describe your disability?
I mean, what do you mean?
The question is, how would you describe your disability?
What do I think of it?
I wouldn't describe my disability as a mobility issue because I can use all of my limbs, but I have pain all the time.
Right, so then wouldn't that be a sensory disability, or?
A lot.
No.
But if I'm going to be filling out a survey where where I'm asked the question, what kind of, or what is the nature of your disability, my answer is going to be chronic pain.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Okay?
That's a type of disability. That's not, doesn't have to do with how other people perceive you or your disability.
That's why he wants a different question. I get both points. I understand both.
I don't get the connection between my stating that I have chronic pain and that being a problem of other people's perception of me.
There isn't, but so chronic pain is a type of disability, so it goes in the same category as all these others.
Mm-hmm.
Unseen is not a type of disability. It's a way that other people would perceive your disability.
Well, how about this? If I have one of these, if I had PTSD, for instance, but it isn't visible to other people, that I would describe it as unseen. I would describe my PTSD as unseen.
But it also
Which
would be
it could
mental
be,
health.
could be a problem, because I have this, but people are not aware of it. So when I need certain accommodation, and I don't mean physical accommodation, I don't get it, because they think I am perfectly normal, and
Right, but
you're asking me how I describe my disability. Well, I know what I have is a real disability, but other people don't see it. So I would say my disability is unseen or invisible.
well,
Right,
I
but it's
mean,
definitely mental
my
health.
disability is also invisible, but that's not a description of the disability. That's a description of how other people perceive me.
But I'm saying perceive, right?
Right.
If you don't perceive that I have this PTSD, then that's a problem for me.
That's why he
Yes.
wants it a separate question.
I'm not saying it's not a problem, I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's a different question.
Yeah, he just. Just on a technicality, would it be okay to put like disabilities in case you have more than one? Or should they just pick one?
We're in the unseen disabilities.
How would you describe your disability, like,
Make
when you
it,
make it plural in parentheses?
Okay.
Can you
so
pick
we
more
can
than
do
one?
the
Yeah.
parentheses with the IES.
IES, yeah.
How about if my interpretation of the term unseen or invisible disability and then the list is to indicate that we're looking at a broader spectrum of disabilities other than what you might consider under physical, developmental, or, you know, any of the other issues. So that people know that we're looking for information about those disabilities which are considered unseen as well as those which are obvious.
Yeah, so I mean,
Would you describe your disability as one of the unseen disabilities? Blah, 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 etc.
yeah.
And
so-
then there's also a line, if you use an alternate term, please describe.
Yeah, so I understand what you're getting at, but I just think unseen is not the right word for that.
Then what word would we use?
I mean, I would just give the types of disabilities we're talking about.
So expand the list so that we've got the name of every potential disability there.
I mean, so for example, what we have anxiety disorder. What is that? That's a mental health, emotional. That's already on the list. I don't know what PTSD, but chronic pain. That's a sensory disability. That's already on the list.
Really? Where?
No, I think that's really different. I thought we were.
Because that's a physical disability.
Right, but I thought we were primarily using sensory to cover autism, which has a lot of different.
Spectrum, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Maybe I don't understand how the term is used.
Because I think that was our discussion, wasn't it? Because we were thinking about how to include autism, which is a sensory plus possibly other things as
Yeah.
well.
Well, I mean, autism is very complex, and
Yes.
that's one aspect of it.
Well, and I'm thinking about my grandson who has cerebral palsy, definitely a physical disability.
Yeah.
He also, as far as we know, probably has some mental retardation, but because he can't talk and he won't cooperate with the usual tests, we don't know for sure, but probably. We could probably check most of these for that one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Can
do
happen.
say yeah. So I just think, all right, unseen and invisible is just. I think that's not the words that describe what you're trying to get at.
Then what words would you suggest?
Well, I mean, I don't know, I would just give these examples without a word. I don't think there is a word for it.
Okay, but when people are talking about these things for public education purposes, they are described as unseen or invisible disabilities. This is terminology that is commonly used when discussing things that aren't obvious physical disabilities. In fact, yeah, in almost any situation where I've been reading about different kinds of disabilities, this category is listed with these very types of examples for people to stimulate people's thought processes, so that you're not only thinking of people who are paraplegics when you're talking about people with disabilities. It's a recognition that there are disabilities that are not obvious to the casual observer,
Well,
yet they are disabilities.
right, but I mean, a lot of that we already have. I mean, mental health, emotional disabilities often would not be.
Okay, so
Obvious.
then essentially we only have two categories of disabilities, the obvious ones and the ones that aren't obvious.
Well, I don't think those are categories of disabilities at all. Those are just categories of perceptions of disabilities.
Well, don't we also have to not only, don't we have to think about the person who's looking at this survey, how they're going to interpret it for themselves? Not just, and I'm saying we're being picky in a good way, which we should be. But the person who has some disability, whatever it is looking at this. What do they think we're looking for? What do they think they should write?
I don't know.
They should check.
I mean, I think talking about unseen disabilities as particular types of impairments is, it might be common, but it's sloppy. It doesn't actually.
But what I'm saying is that maybe it is. Maybe, you're probably exactly right. But the person taking this survey, are they going to think that?
Well, suppose I'm the person taking this survey and I'm blind. Is blindness an unseen disability? Well, sometimes no, and sometimes yes.
In your
That's
case,
what this is
Right.
going to,
It is.
like
Well,
hearing aids,
okay.
glasses, some do, some don't, yeah. This is saying epilepsy is a
How
hidden
would you
disability
describe your
that's
disability?
true, yeah,
until they have
until.
a
yeah.
seizure.
Mhm.
Hmm.
What?
How would you describe your disability? That's what the question is. How would you describe your disability?
Right.
So what's your answer?
I would describe. I would describe it as blindness.
Okay. Since blindness isn't on the list, what would you do?
What would I do? Mental health, sensory.
And
I
then
don't know. There's no
You don't
There's
consider
no point.
blindness a sensory disability?
Oh, yeah. I guess. Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
guess it's a sensory disability. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
And then if you wanted to be specific, you could, in the line down there provided,
Yeah.
write blindness.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think we can list every potential disability.
Right. I don't think so
Okay.
either.
This, as far as I can see, this list attempts to identify categories of disabilities.
Right.
So, the fact that I think it's important to have the unseen or invisible disability category there because it's a catch-all category. It's terminology that is currently used in all kinds of media, medical media, psychiatric media.
But you're saying it's used to refer to specific types of disabilities.
I'm sorry, the first few words of the question were?
You're saying it's used to mean specific types of disabilities.
It's used as a catch-all term to include all sorts of disabilities that aren't plainly obvious just looking at the person.
Right.
But they generally are things that still have a considerable potential for causing disability.
An impact on their lives.
Right.
If a person with PTSD is triggered and starts to have a meltdown, well, before they're triggered, you don't know they've got PTSD. All of a sudden, something triggers them and they start behaving badly or strangely or whatever.
Right.
And in some cases, to the point of causing themselves physical harm or causing physical harm to others.
Right. But why isn't that a mental health / emotional?
I'm not saying it's not a mental health issue. Mental health issues cover a broad spectrum. We could leave PTSD out, But currently, PTSD is, it's not that it isn't considered a mental health issue, it's considered a high priority mental health issue at this point, because we have so many, because it's become something that people look for when they're dealing with people who have mental health issues. Psychotherapists and
Right.
doctors and people like that. Because we're finding out that more and more people are having this kind of mental health issue. So yes, many people would put PTSD automatically in there and check mental health. But there are people who have PTSD who don't consider themselves to have other mental health issues. PTSD is a very specific mental health issue. So is schizophrenia and,
Right.
obsessive compulsive disorders and those kinds of things. It would take 200 pages to list every possible mental
Well,
health
I'm
condition.
not suggesting that we do that. But why can't we say, right, instead of having that as an example of an unseen disability, have an example of a mental health / emotional disability?
We could.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that having unseen or invisible disability as a category is confusing. And if you, right, if other people disagree with me, then that.
All right,
that's fine.
so-
I will submit, but
How about if we do this? Under mental health or emotional disabilities, we'll include anxiety, PTSD, any other,
PTSD is an anxiety disorder.
pardon?
PTSD is an anxiety disorder. It falls in.
Yeah, but not all anxiety disorders are PTSD.
It's true.
yeah.
Okay.
So you're,
Anyway, and I also think that
There's so many.
asking people how other people perceive their disability is a legitimate question.
Agreed.
Okay, but let's deal with one question at a
Right.
time here.
so you're putting in parentheses
Well,
after
along
mental
with-
health?
Pardon? The parentheses,
Mental health / emotional?
disability / autism / PTSD.
Okay, so you're putting those all in that one
Yeah,
category?
and, yeah,
Yeah, and chronic pain, I would consider that an example of a sensory disability.
I mean, for me, it's a physical disability.
it's a physical disability.
Also, I mean,
Okay.
both.
Both.
Yeah, it's-
And then it affects your mental health.
It's terrible to be in pain, but when I'm in pain, I generally have trouble moving.
Yeah, okay,
So-
fair enough.
Then I can't read and retain what I'm reading.
We could even move chronic pain up to physical disabilities, as far as
Sure.
I'm concerned.
Sure.
Yes, no?
I don't feel like we need examples at all, because people, this is what,
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
don't
get
think we need
into,
anything. Because it's so extensive, like you said, I don't think we need examples, to be honest.
if
because
we're just
it's-
looking for categories,
Right.
we've got them.
Right.
What?
But I do agree with
Yeah,
unseen, because
Thank
that's
you.
just how you feel people
Yeah.
are. And
I-
it's not that big of a deal, it's just one,
Yeah.
we're just putting 5A.
Yeah, I don't think, I think
I don't think we need
you know,
examples.
If you
Really
make it
don't.
5A, that sets it apart.
right. That's my
Is that-
point.
We agreed that a couple meetings ago, but,
Yeah, we
so,
did.
um,
So can we
yeah,
just
and
do
I don't
that?
really think we need examples.
So if we just make
people can
the
figure it
unseen
out.
or invisible 5A
I mean,
and
we
leave those categories that were there in there,
Yeah,
could- I think they're fine.
it works for me.
And I really don't think you need the examples, because people will, they know
Okay.
on their own.
so we're leaving out the examples for unseen as well, is that what you're saying?
Right, yeah, 'cause I think it's gonna confuse people. It's what it means to them. Otherwise, we'd have to go on and on and on and on. There's so many unseen, there's so many, people will
Right.
figure it out.
So,
Yeah,
so
It's-
unseen or invisible disabilities such as those chronic pain, PTSD, autism, anxiety disorders, etc. And then leave, if you use an alternate term, please describe.
Absolutely, that's
Okay.
excellent.
Number 6.
okay, number 6. All right,
Oh, that's
confidence should be capitalized. In lack of confidence.
Really?
Well,
Well, because
because these are
the
all
others are.
titles, yeah. And others indifferent from others should also be capitalized. And other than that, nothing.
Number 7.
Okay. Number 7,
It's pretty. Good list.
I question if everybody would understand what SSDI and SSI were, the difference between them. I mean, some people
If they're
get,
receiving it, they would
they
know.
get social security, do they know?
So the word social security and SSDI, like that's the same thing.
SSDI is Social Security, it's the same fund. SSDI stands for Social Security Disability Income.
Disability, that's for people who have worked, and,
Not
necessarily,
So-
but it's disability income, where SSI is if you're low income.
SSI is a state program
like-
that makes up for low Social Security
okay,
payments.
so people will
Just funny.
understand what the difference.
If they get them,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Well,
yes.
but when you say social security
They
as
come
an
on
item,
different
do
days.
we mean
They're different, yeah.
like age-related benefits? Is that?
Okay, what we have,
So like retirement,
Yeah.
this copy is different. Social
Oh.
Security and SSDI are on the same line.
Oh, I see. Okay.
SSI is a separate.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, then that's, yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
because SSI, Social Security and SSDI are federal and SSI is state.
the only other one would be like a, that probably is missing would be like a, oh no, wait, you have that. Would you wanna know if it's military?
Would-
Like a
pardon?
military pension? Like I mean, like with the veterans, there's chapter
Yeah.
115.
So.
I mean, I don't know how specific you wanna get, 115, and then there's pensions.
Do people that get a military pension still qualify for SSDI
Sometimes,
and,
yeah.
and that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
So,
yeah.
so should military pension go along with Social Security, SSDI on that same line?
No, because you can get both. I get both. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
It would have to just, it would be, it's two things. So it would be chapter 115, which is similar to SSI, but it's for veterans. It's like a low income
Okay.
thing, chapter 115 / like military pension.
If you're gonna put military pension, then shouldn't you put,
Because people get that for being disabled. I'm not
Oh.
necessarily talking about pension like I put in my 20 years, woohoo! Like, you can get a pension for being disabled,
For a
having
disabled veteran
disabled-
benefit.
okay, well, I'm thinking about if we're going
Just
to
to be
do source
inclusive.
of income, you have unemployment. What about, I mean, if I had a disability, I get a pension, a retirement pension.
Right, so the word
Mhm.
retirement
So
needs to go
should-
somewhere.
Should we put that in there as well? Because, I mean,
Retirement.
to fit me. I
Well,
mean, there may be a lot of people, older people, who get, whose income depends on a pension from where they worked,
Mhm.
or, in my case, I get part of my husband's.
Yeah, you can say retirement /
Retirement.
pension, and that would be a regular pension from a job.
mm,
Could do that. Wouldn't hurt.
Or are we just looking at I mean, do we want to know? Well, it says sources of income check all. So it isn't necessarily the benefits that you get because you have a disability that we're looking for. We're looking for income.
We're looking for
Period.
income.
Then there should be retirement.
Slash
benefits.
pension.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And you don't think other source is sufficient?
Good. I mean, there's probably other ones we're not thinking of.
Yeah, well, I mean, a pension might be common enough that it's worth putting explicitly.
So we'll put in pension or military
I mean,
retirement?
this is how I had it. I don't know. I don't know if that's okay with you.
Okay. So CH 115. Military
Before you came in, we were discussing that
pension.
these recordings are not on the site. I looked before I came. I've never looked before.
Oh, really?
They're not there, and he's checked in, and he's checked in, and so I went back a couple months, they're not there yet, so.
Okay. 7A. Are we done with 7?
Also, just one little thing, so, full or part-time should be full dash or part dash time. And self-employed should be self-dash employed.
Does he have a PhD in English?
Yes.
No, I have a PhD in math, actually.
What? Nice.
So we have to call you Dr. Eli.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't.
But what did you say with the full? Because I know the part-time, but I didn't understand the full, you said.
Full is an abbreviation for full-time, which has a dash, so it would be full dash or part dash time.
Wow. I think you just heard
Okay.
his brain. I'm,
Okay, so is that it for 7?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, 7A, what is your current income range? That's going to be a drop-down box. I'm thinking of the first category being
I was just gonna ask you.
0 to, I think the poverty level is at 12,000 a year, somewhere around there.
Oh, good, I'm so close.
So,
Is it poverty issue though?
and then go in increments, I don't know.
5,000? I don't
I
know.
was thinking more like 10, but, you know,
I don't know, yeah.
0 to 12 or 15 or
Right.
whatever,
Zero- I was just gonna
15
ask you
to
that.
25,
Right.
you know.
What did I just filled out a survey with that question on it. I think it was that one went in increments of 15,000.
15?
Holy.
So it'd be
Okay.
0 to 15.
Yeah, cause
and
like
then
15,
Well, if he's saying the poverty level, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'd
Something
actually
after that.
like to know how many people are living below the poverty line.
Yeah.
I would, yes.
I think 15,000
Yeah.
is kind of like the average for someone on
That's
for average social security benefits, and it's also like a typical like minimum wage income.
Let's figure
SSI
that out.
benefits, the state of Massachusetts, as well as the state of California, provide, and some others, provide SSI benefits that bridge the gap between whatever you're able to make based on your work history
Yep.
or total lack of it, and what the federal minimum
Okay,
poverty standard is,
Okay.
okay?
okay,
So people who are getting Social Security who get only $600 a month would be given SSI in the amount that would bring them up to whatever that federal level is.
So
I
we'll
see.
figure that out for next meeting? Or do you want me to look it
That's a
up now
matter
on
of
my
looking
phone?
it up.
Okay.
But I did look it up recently and it was somewhere around 12,000.
oh, okay.
And that's not just for Massachusetts, right? Or,
The federal poverty
Okay.
level.
So how many categories are you going to have to choose from. Up to what?
I would think that we'd cap it at greater than 75,000 or, you know,
Are we doing family size on this?
pardon?
Family size or no? We're not doing any of that?
Well, we do have questions about who do you live with, but we're not here to find out how many dependents each individual
Right.
has or any of that.
Says it's coming up immediately.
So I'm looking at just
Okay.
their figure for an individual,
Yeah, 12,140,
Okay,
so.
all right,
right, so,
So we'll start it there and then do increments of 15 or something
okay.
for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 and then have the 5th category over.
So
whatever.
do we wanna be exact, or do we wanna say to 13 so that people don't
Well, I was thinking
click
of,
up
you know,
for
go
just that
to
$100?
under 12,000.
Okay,
yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
A round number that's, yeah.
Okay, then we have what type of home do you live in? That'll be a drop-down box, and in that box will be things like private home, apartment, condo, whatever, group home. Although, group home is down in another category, so it probably won't be in there, but
Although I think it's better up in this category.
it might be.
Yeah.
I just thought of something real quick. Are we gonna have, questions that they have to answer, or no? Like, cause I know we said that you could skip around, you don't have to answer some. Are there any that we're gonna have to be like, if you don't click them, we can't submit it, or not really?
Okay, actually, the section 3
Yeah.
is that, because section 3 is about if you've had, you know, if you've been picked on, bullied, been denied services or whatever, the discrimination policies and what you've done about it. So the only thing I've done is, have you ever experienced direct or indirect bullying or harassment? No. If no, you do not need to continue answering this section.
Okay,
And it is a fairly detailed section, so.
okay.
Okay, so 8A, does your living situation meet your needs for accessibility? Are you responsible for indoor maintenance, light bulbs, air filters, minor repairs? Are you responsible for outdoor maintenance, yard work, snow removal? How do you meet these needs? And that'll be a drop-down box of, you know, I don't know, able to do it myself, have to get somebody to help me.
Will there be an option if I don't meet these needs? Like I don't? How do you meet them? I don't.
Well,
They don't get
but
no,
that
they
would,
don't get-
that would come out in, are you responsible for doing it, under yes or no?
No, I meant it just doesn't get done. I
Oh,
can't do
it
it
ju-
and nobody else is doing it, and so my yard is like, I'm just
Well,
curious.
you know,
'cause I
that,
feel
that
like
could
that's common.
certainly be one of the
That-
things,
that makes
unable to
sense.
find help.
Yeah,
You
that,
know,
that makes, yeah.
Need help or need help.
unable to get help I need.
So it'd be like, I do it myself, I pay for it, I get a volunteer, I can't,
Yeah.
they don't do it.
Nothing
or-
happens, yeah.
Okay, who do you live with? Is that all okay?
What is the children under 18? Why is,
Well, I'm
Because
sorry?
otherwise that would be another,
Yeah,
who
just,
don't-
do you live with? You live, is that asking if there are children under 18 who live with you?
right, like I'm
Yeah.
disabled
Yes,
and I have
that's-
dependents that
That's
are
what the
under
question is, who do you
18.
live with? Do you live with children under 18?
Okay.
yeah, so, capitalize member, capitalize under, and capitalize animal.
I know we have other,
What was your, aside from members, what was your other one?
Under is in children under 18,
Okay,
and animal.
I don't know if you wanna put this, but, we don't have an option for just like another adult. Like, let's say my child's 19, he's considered an adult, but it's either a loan or a stop, like, oh,
That's
family member,
family,
never
yeah.
mind. I see it, I don't know why I did it.
Yeah.
okay.
Although, I guess
Maybe I have a visual
we should change that
impairment.
to adult family members then.
Sensory impairment.
My whole family has glasses except for me, so I don't know. It's creeping
So-
up.
Or
we
we
change
could put over 18.
Family members over 18?
No, just any adult over 18, like adult over 18. Adult.
Why would
Okay.
children under 18 fit
Some
into
people have like.
family?
Well, they
Pardon?
would.
Do we specifically want to know if people have children that they're living with? Because we also have family members to choose from.
This is true, but if,
So we specifically want to know,
well,
I
what,
think for certain services you would.
pardon?
For certain services you would. I know like some of the financial ones you get more money if you have children, so.
Yeah, so I would change family members to adult family members to distinguish it from children under 18.
okay.
Okay, so. Okay, that it?
That's it for me.
Mhm.
Number 10. That'll be precincts 1 through 5 to choose from.
If you live in Easthampton, comma, which precinct do you live in? And precinct shouldn't be capitalized, I don't think.
Oh, I don't know.
I think maybe in this case it should be.
We're overloading Jim's main. Jim, would roommate go under other? Like, do we wanna put that or just go under other? Cause I know a lot of people, like several disabled people might, you know.
Well, are you speaking of a roommate other than spouse partner?
Or a friend.
Yeah, just, I mean, I know people that
That-
sometimes it's like a bunch of friends and they all have, they
And
share
that
their
wouldn't go under
members.
friends?
I mean, you're, yeah, I'm just asking,
Well, no, so-
I'm
so there-
not married to the idea.
Well, there are two things you're talking about. One is like if you live with friends as a single household, and then there's if you live with a roommate but you consider yourself two separate households.
How about friends / roommate?
That's fine,
Yeah?
that works. Teamwork.
Okay, so we're
So we don't know if precinct is not a capital?
we up to number 11 yet?
Sure.
If you live outside Easthampton, where do you live?
Well, now, I questioned that because we say very specifically, we're looking for information about Easthampton.
Because they were talking about working in Easthampton too, though, so I think that's why they
Is
have
that
it there.
Is that in the
I
introduction?
don't think it is, though. I think it's, yeah, I think it's a contradiction. I don't know if we put live and work in the description.
Experience life, well, that could include.
Okay,
Yeah. So, yeah, so if you live outside of Easthampton, comma, where do you live? But also, I think where do you live is vague. We should say like what city or town do you live in?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So I would, so comma after Easthampton,
What number are you on?
number 11.
Okay,
And then, but instead of where do you live, I would say what city or town do you live in?
how is that different?
Because it says what, I mean, where do you live could refer to any type of region. It's not, right, city or town means like, what specific, what
how
city
do
or
you
town do
think
you
they
live
would
in?
answer, like, what would be a not a great answer for where do you live? Like, you're afraid they're gonna
Like
say
you could give the
Camden
name,
County?
like you could give you could give the name of a neighborhood in Northampton that not everyone, that not everyone knows where that is. or-
Oh, like in East, the
Yeah.
plane,
Yeah.
whatever. Huh, okay. That's his attention to detail math mind. I love
Level of education will be a drop-down box.
Yeah, it's, what is, you have what is U level of education, that should be your.
Thank you.
That's kind of
Clearly,
ironic.
ours is not, yeah, it's kindergarten, yeah, clearly.
Okay. Living in Easthampton with a disability.
Can I ask one question?
Hmm.
Do you know what the options are for education? I feel like sometimes
Oh,
they're really
it's gonna
broad,
be,
just because a lot of people that end up disabled, like, don't make it, like, if you say K through 12, a lot of people haven't made it to 12. And are we gonna have an option
So
for GED
we
or like?
could do
or-
K through 8, we could do
Okay.
diploma or GED, we could do
Okay.
trade school or technical
All right,
training, and then, some
Some
college,
college.
associate's
Okay.
degree, bachelor's, master's.
got it, all right.
Okay.
I guess the question is my question is, what will be done with the answers to this question?
Two.
What is your level of education?
Okay.
Again, I'm thinking about Dylan.
Thinking about what?
Her
Dylan,
grandson.
my grandson, who did go through school.
Mm-hmm.
He did graduate with a special, I don't even know if it was a special diploma, but he did finish
Okay.
at the age of 22, I think, is when they can stay in high school until that age.
Right.
So his high school would not be the same as my
Right.
Sure.
graduate.
Okay.
Right.
Do we need to have something in there
So
that
we can
indicates
include
that?
a special education program, or,
Is that what you're
Would
looking
that-
for?
If that would be helpful to anybody looking at this question,
Yeah.
if they want to know.
well, and it does, because if the purpose of doing this is to provide education to the public, then it's important to know that we can't address these people as if they all have doctorates in English.
Or math,
Or not.
or math, I said.
Or,
Yeah.
This
Or
is
math.
a
or math.
Yeah,
I can barely add 2 + 2 without a calculator.
so how common do you think these special high school
I would
things
have,
are?
I mean, do we wanna say IEP? I mean, cause he would've had to have an IEP, like, that's how that works.
IB,
IEP, individualized education plan, and then they do the
Right.
accommodations and all that.
right, but that's not the final degree. That's the program through school, what he's going to suppose, his goals.
Right, but so some people,
We need to find out what they call it here.
I've
Yeah.
never,
A special ed student who receives a diploma, what is that called? Is it something different?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can look it up.
I don't know, I mean, is that common enough that we can, that we need, that it can't be just part of an other category?
It may be. There may be a lot of people like Dylan who have mental retardation or other issues that
In Easthampton,
mean,
though,
that
'Cause this
I
would
mean,
be
mean,
the high
almost
school.
all of Riverside Industries are people with both physical and developmental types of disabilities.
Mhm.
And, they go there, they have programs that engage them socially, they have programs that allow them to learn a skill.
this is
And-
saying it's the same thing, it's saying IEP, and,
IEP,
it's, what is a special education diploma? And it's saying it's a regular diploma with the use of an IEP,
IEP
which is
It's
all
for-
they, so it
it's
is
in
a
for-
regular
That's in for
it's-
individualized
education
education plan.
plan.
well, I know what that
Yeah.
is. His diploma's hanging on the wall with his senior picture. I can look at it and find out what it
Okay.
says. Of course, that was Texas. Texas may be different. What we need
Right.
to, is
Yeah.
what is it
This
called
is for-
here?
But
Yeah,
in,
this is
yeah,
for-
in New
If-
England,
if
this
it
is how we
isn't
call it.
universal. It may be just universal.
It's saying it's called an IEP diploma.
And I
Okay,
guess it,
so,
and
IEP.
that, in this case, somebody else would be answering the survey for that person, and they would I would hope no at IEP.
So I'll put it in there as special education / IEP diploma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would help,
Right.
I mean, that
Although-
would tell me.
It is
'cause I-
not a standard-based diploma and is not recognized in this state as equivalent to a regular high school diploma.
Right.
Huh.
So,
'Cause-
okay.
Yeah, oh, okay,
Are we on section 2 yet?
sure.
Okay,
Question 13, that V plus to V negative, very positive to very negative. How you feel about living or visiting in Easthampton, very positive, or to very negative will be the range.
Okay,
Okay.
I think we should get rid of the parentheses around or visiting.
You think I should get rid of the parentheses where?
Around or visiting. In question 13. That's
Okay.
where- Yeah.
It actually wasn't in the original question,
Oh, okay.
so I stuck it in there as a, should we include visiting?
I love this question. Did you make it up?
Which one?
What are the best parts about living in Easthampton with a disability?
No.
Yeah,
That was one of Jeff's.
yeah,
Oh. It's not a bad question.
No, yeah,
yeah.
encouraging positive thinking.
And that's going to be a comment box.
All right, and is there
Is-
a reason we need to abbreviate it Eaton?
I did it just to save space. It's not going to be abbreviated in the question.
Okay,
There will be no abbreviations except for et cetera in the question.
You know
Okay,
you wouldn't want
cool.
anything by, you know that.
all right.
16, I realize it's out of whack there.
How?
And somehow
Because it's out, it's not in mine.
it
That's-
got,
Oh,
there was a glitch.
I see, oh, just, all right,
So the first one is going to be at work, 1 through 5, college, 1 through 5.
okay,
And the 1 through 5 is going to be 1 being completely accessible, 5 completely inaccessible, or do we want it the other way around?
I think 1 should be completely inaccessible. 1 should be bad, and 5 should be good.
We had this discussion before,
We did.
didn't we? But I don't remember
Yeah.
how we resolved it.
I think we agreed with him, but
You know, personally, I don't care which way it goes because the directions are there.
Yeah.
1 means this, 5 means that.
But I think
It's
it's,
very clear.
I think it's more intuitive if 1 is bad and 5 is good.
Also, 1 is spelled out, it should just be the number
number
1.
one, that's true. Wow.
With 1 being.
I see. I hear what you're saying. Okay. So, you want a number there?
That's a tall order.
And we'll read. You know, if there's no objection to, I don't know if when we go to put this in, if their format will allow changing that kind of order. If it does, fine.
If not,
If it doesn't, I don't see that it makes a difference one way or the other, because the instruction is there. 1 means this, 5 means that.
I can see how it makes sense both ways.
When I do these things, I just do what they tell me.
Yeah, but sometimes people are, sometimes, well, not just sometimes, but a lot of times people will like miss things, and so,
They do, but they could miss it in either direction.
So the reason why I think this makes sense this way is because we are doing this because we're looking for problems. So like, how bad, like we're asking how bad are the problems at college?
Mhm.
Well, 5 would be they're really bad because they're inaccessible. So that's why I think it would be great the way it is.
well, also we wrote how accessible, right? So that implies, right, more accessible is higher, and, right?
We're really making us think today.
Yeah, well, because I actually read this in advance, which I normally don't get to do.
Accessible, you're right.
Anyway, that's,
You're right, that means the numbering is for
that's
the
my
other way.
opinion,
Too smart.
yeah.
Unless you said how inaccessible are the.
Okay, so,
Also, on a scale of 1 to 5, comma.
okay,
And why do we need college and school as two separate things? Isn't college,
Kids school, K through whatever. Like Maple School down here.
Yeah,
There's an elevator goes from the, like, it doesn't go all the way to the top. So like my family can never go to my kids' open house because they can't go up the stairs.
yeah,
So that place is, that's a regular school. Yeah, they only have an elevator that goes from the basement to the first and not up to the second. And it's grandfathered in, so. But that's one of the reasons they want to build a new school. Yeah, my family could never go to open houses
yeah, that's
for
a
my kids,
problem.
once they got to second, third, fourth grade.
you know, we could certainly put college and school in the same category. On the other hand, I assume that most colleges have been upgraded to be fully accessible, whereas not all the schools have.
On that note, legally accessible or like, like HCC, like they'll have handicap parking, but then you have to walk 17 miles to the elevator to come back to go to your class that's right there. Like I would consider that that's legally accessible, but not.
I hear what you're saying. They, all of the access into the building meets whatever requirements for pitch on a hill and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I think that's something
But
that,
the distance is certainly a problem.
yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
something that you can take into account when you answer the question. Right,
Right. But since colleges are for the most part, just because of the nature of the building and its purpose, are for the most part kept up to code, whereas a 400-year-old school doesn't have to meet certain requirements
100
because it's
years.
400 years old.
That's
Yeah,
like
that's
Deerfield,
true.
the
Yeah.
little
So,
one-room schoolhouse.
and hopefully when the new school is built, this will be a totally moot point in Easthampton, because we have the new high school.
We're
and-
going for a tour, right, before they finish it? Be
Okay.
like,
so can we
Oh,
clarify
yeah.
it as, by
Field
saying like
trip?
That is
K,
an idea.
K to 12
Yes, we
school
should do
or
that.
something?
My question is, why do we even have college when we don't have any colleges? in
we
this
went
town?
over that.
But
I
we
know,
can have
but-
residents who go to college.
But why do we, frankly, why do we care? Is that, I mean,
I think because we were
purposes.
supposed to direct people to services that can help them advocate for themselves. We're supposed to be doing advocacy. So like if there's a problem. I don't
Yeah,
know.
when it relates to the bus service.
That's
Yeah.
okay, all right,
A lack of bus service.
Yeah,
okay,
But-
well, this doesn't make sense to me when you've got 5 being completely inaccessible. That means I'm in a wheelchair, I can't get in at all, so I don't even go to that school. I mean, if it's inaccessible, then it doesn't mean anything to me in this question.
so
It's
instead
like-
of completely,
it's
maybe we
like
should change
you.
it to like
Yeah.
extremely or very or something.
It's inaccessible. What you need to be able to get to, what, 3rd floor? Is that
Oh,
what
at my
it is?
son's school, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Technically it's the 2nd floor, yeah. And they couldn't.
But is that where we would put that problem?
In my instance, I would be like, yeah, school is
Yeah,
complete. I mean, I might do 4 because I can get to the first,
so maybe instead of completely, we should say very, very inaccessible, very
Maybe like
accessible.
I can get in the front door and I can go to the basement, but I can't.
Yeah, it just seems like completely inaccessible means, it doesn't, I don't,
Means there's a brick wall surrounding.
Okay, here's the
yeah,
thing.
so it doesn't affect me because I'm not even gonna try again. The
Okay,
way
that's very technical.
the way the question is, and,
All right, but considering that this is all under question 16, I mean, we go down that list and we have roads, pavements, sidewalks, crosswalks. There are some of these that are completely inaccessible.
Right.
I don't care if you got a Mack truck, they're completely inaccessible.
oh, yeah.
Riding in on a
So,
pony.
you know, the only way to solve that problem would be to take those three things
Right, we
out
gotta do it
of
that way,
that
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure there are clubs and pubs that some people would consider completely inaccessible,
Yeah.
but other people would maybe find it's difficult, but I can get there,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right, but this is, we're looking for a subjective answer here.
And
Right, so it doesn't, so it's okay if it's completely inaccessible to one person and not
Right.
to another, yeah.
yeah, so are we okay with it, or?
Well, I mean, so I suggested changing completely to very.
But very doesn't cover those places that are completely inaccessible.
Well, if it's completely inaccessible, then it's also very inaccessible.
I
But
don't
if
know.
it's
He's
very
gotcha. He's
inaccessible, it's
gotcha.
not
Jim's got you
necessarily
this
completely
time.
inaccessible.
That's true. Oh, okay. All right, never mind.
Any question that next to bathrooms, like if we should have it separate?
Because that wasn't in the list.
Yeah.
No, I think that's good.
Alita actually thought that was an important issue
We'll have to
because,
thank her.
well, because
It is.
there are places, for example, the night they did the hamburger with a cop thing,
Yes,
she
yeah.
had to use the bathroom
And where'd she go?
to the one over there, which is
Okay.
just a regular bathroom.
Yeah.
It might be a one hole, I don't know.
Right.
But the handicap bathrooms are around the other side, but she had to go so badly that she went into that one and she couldn't even get into the bathroom stall with her walker.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of places with bathrooms that I barely fit in, like.
Yeah, and so I think bathrooms is a valid question.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I
But
would
will
put
there be a way,
public restrooms or something like that, but
Also, can we change at work to just work?
sure.
Okay. And can we get rid of pubs because no one in the United States
Can we get
uses the
rid
word
of what?
pubs?
Oh, we
Clubs
do.
slash
They
pubs.
do.
call them pubs.
he's not going out at night enough.
Well, I don't actually go either, but my daughter and son-in-law do. And I look at Easthampton happenings.
Unless they call
And they
Bars.
use the word pubs?
Mhm.
Well, I'm Irish.
There's some.
I,
Mhm.
no, I don't.
All right. I would say like.
So
They're
we
bars.
could change
Yeah.
it to bars,
Yeah,
if that
Pubs
would,
and
I think that would be
I
better.
think pub sounds better.
I don't think people in the United States use the word pubs.
Yeah, they do, Eli. Come on out.
There might
Okay.
be a,
so are we,
yeah.
is there anything else under 16?
Pavements, that's a
Ugh.
British word. So it should be
Sidewalks?
sidewalks.
Oh, we have sidewalks. Oh, we talked about this
Oh, we
last
do.
time.
Yeah, so,
Roads
yeah, so we should,
and
can we
streets.
cross out, oh, roads, streets, okay, yeah.
Slash cul-de-sac, slash rotary, slash boulevard.
And capitalize open and spaces. And capitalize fire in police slash fire. And I'm done.
Or a library. Library's gonna get lots of funds.
Yeah, the children, yeah.
And the post office, which I will bring up at another time, but
The doors.
The post office does not have automatic
I know.
doors.
That's-
And I looked up a little bit, did a little research. Do you know why it's exempt? Because
I don't know why it's
No.
exempt, but I do know that it's exempt.
That's not
They're
fair.
not, they're not under ADA.
Right, the federal.
Well, no, they're under an architectural regulation. I really want
It's
to go.
just selfish, they
I-
have the money.
I want to go further with this and find out why, because it dawned on me that the one that I used to use a lot in Austin also was the same way. You could get right up to it, but you couldn't open the door.
That's-
So, anyway, post
Why would
office
they
is
not
good
wanna
here.
fix that? That's weird. That's,
Yeah.
Alright.
that is,
I think that's definitely
It's
something
kinda
we need to
gross.
look
They don't
into.
wanna
It's
fix that.
federal, I know, but still.
All right, in 17, change which to that.
don't tell Lita. she'll be-
17 what?
In 17, change which to that.
You know, I have a computer that says which or that. If I've chosen which, it still prompts me to change it to that. If I change it to that,
serious?
it then prompts me to change it to which.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
Do
Yeah.
you use
the
Grammarly?
computer doesn't
Do you use
know.
Grammarly?
No.
'Cause that's,
That's the new,
Is that what
Yeah.
it does too?
That's
Or,
Probably.
Well, I use the free one. There is a more extensive one that you pay for, but it does that kind of thing.
no, he's asking if it gives a
Yeah.
catch-22 roundabout
I haven't
problems.
had that experience, but.
A member of my dissertation committee made me look this up, when to use which and when to use that, so I remember it very well.
and what's the rule?
The rule is that you use that whenever the clause that follows is essential to what you're saying, and you use which whenever it's just extra information. Except that sometimes using that is really awkward, so you use which instead, but you only do that when
That's
it's
very
necessary.
firm rule.
Thank you very much. We'll leave that one just like it is.
Oh my god.
And that's going to have a
I don't want my
comment
PhD
box for
anymore.
additional information.
What if you do that which you can easily access, and that's both, like that works, right? That which you can easily access.
Okay, number 18.
Number 18. Okay, Easthampton Commission on Disability, disability should be capitalized.
Okay.
And
We don't have DMH in there.
Does services need to be capitalized after mental health?
yes, but also I have a question about that. Is mental health services the name of a service, or is it a description?
No, I think it's lowercase. In
It's-
general,
It's a general
yeah.
Okay,
So lowercase h.
well,
You know.
no, I mean, because everything else is capitalized. But it is a little,
Well, everything else is names of it.
yeah, so it is a little,
What?
it is a little confusing, because
I think we should actually move it down. Cause we're naming specific places and then we throw that one in there, which is broad, so. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
have DMH on here. It's a Department of Mental Health. So DMH needs to go
okay.
in there
So
and then.
just move it.
And then I'm proposing that you put Department of Mental Health where it says mental health services and then take mental health and go
Okay, but-
further down because it's broad. Cause you're naming specific places up there
Yeah,
at the top.
that makes sense, and make it like other mental health services or something. So it's clear that it's not the name of something.
And we've got that as well while we're in the list. like home health aides, housekeeping services, those are not official departments or organizations. Medical treatments, I don't understand why that's there. And doctor visits, I have circled as well.
Well, because
Resources. What's it?
home health aides and housekeeping services and medical treatments are resources that people use.
The Alzheimer's Society is kind of random. Because there's a lot of societies. Or am I not reading that right? We don't have Riverside on here, do we? Oh, yes, we do, yes, we do. That's it.
And
Do the
I also wondered about Stavros. Should we put their entire title?
For independent living.
What's their entire title?
Stavros Center for Independent Living.
Oh, good
Does
point.
everybody
Oh,
know what
yeah,
I see.
Stavros is? I mean, we refer to it that
Vaguely.
way, but
Yeah.
I just met with a woman yesterday about some project, and she said her stepdad created Stavros.
really,
Yeah,
it's that new?
but she said 40 years ago.
So, do the colors mean anything? Because you sent me, what you sent
Oh, I
me.
don't-
Do the colors
Yeah.
mean
There are
anything?
things with different colors.
Well, something like here, some of them are
Yeah.
additions
Oh,
and
I
things to be
see.
questioned. that's
I
all.
see,
On the
okay.
edge of Easthampton, I forgot what it is.
Or things like
The T's.
comment box. For question 18, there's going to be a table somehow so that people can indicate the frequency of use.
Oh.
Okay,
Like if they're going to the Council on Aging 3 days a week or,
Okay.
so that we can determine how often people are requiring or taking advantage of some of these things.
all right. So also, PVTA comma COA or other ADA transportation
Oh,
instead of a
that's
slash.
not- Yeah.
And I think ServiceNet doesn't have a space in it.
Yeah, it doesn't, you're right.
And,
So you think ServiceNet what?
It's one word.
It's one word?
yeah,
Okay. And is the N capitalized or ServiceNet?
I'll look it up right
and doctor's visits should be capitalized.
now. Yeah, it is capitalized, but it's one word.
Pardon?
It's one word, but it still
The
is
N is
capitalized.
capitalized,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So are we leaving the Alzheimer's Society?
The N is capitalized?
It is, even though it's one word, yeah. Is there a reason, is that in Easthampton,
Pardon?
the Alzheimer's Society?
I have no idea.
Cause I don't.
I don't know that there's a local chapter anywhere around here.
Are we okay if we take it out? Cause I don't really know why it's there.
Well, you know, it seems if we're gonna put Alzheimer's, we should put other, like Easter seals, other organizations
Right.
that deal with disabilities of various kinds.
Stavros, yeah, does a lot with Easter seals.
And
Easter Seals they have an office, I forget where it is, somewhere west of us, but my daughter told me that recently my daughter does disability law. And somebody contacted her a couple of months ago from the Easter Seal Society about needs in this area. And I don't know if they're planning to set up an office or not, but they would deal with a number of different disabilities.
Right. They do a lot with traumatic
Yeah.
brain injury.
Yeah, I need to find out more about that.
so,
So what I'm saying is, if we put Alzheimer's,
We could replace it.
are we
With Easter
going,
seal.
well, are we going to add, I don't know what else is here. That's something else that have we ever done? Oh, yeah,
We
there
did.
is a resource
We did.
list.
We
Right.
did, to the best of our
Yeah.
ability.
I wonder if it needs to be updated and.
it probably does.
Probably does,
It's a couple
but
years
don't say
old
that out
already.
loud.
Actually, it's probably 3 years old. It's one of the
Yeah.
first things we did.
Mhm. Make a site.
And since there's going to be a comment box for other services,
Oh, right. Yeah.
do you think that will take care of people doing things like write-ins for Easter seals, or, I mean, that might even do it for Alzheimer's, I don't know.
And we might find out about some organizations that we don't.
That we don't know
That we're
about.
not aware of.
For-
Yeah.
That would be great.
Okay, number 19,
Is it important to have specific activities and events for disabled people? Yes, no. Sure.
where are you?
That's number 19, isn't it?
Oh,
No.
something got reordered.
Oh, what's your 19?
Number 19 currently is, how do you feel about the social and support activities that you currently use?
Oh, okay,
That was down lower and I bumped
Right.
it up.
okay. Well, that looks good to me.
Okay. So then, is it important to have specific activities and events for disabled people? Yes, no, comment box. We're good with that?
Yep.
Number 21, do you participate in Disability Awareness Month activities? Yes, no, don't know of any.
That's fine, except that there's some like extra spaces.
There's what?
There's some extra spaces in here, like this is like a double space here, and this is a double space.
When I get my master's, I'm coming to you to check my papers.
Okay.
It's just,
What's it?
that's on the amended copy. Is that better?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and then it's yes, no, don't know of any. Do we need don't know of any?
Yes,
in there?
because I brought this up before, we don't have any, we don't have a disability awareness month, week, or day.
The governor is supposed to, on an annual basis,
Mhm.
declare the month of October Disability Awareness Month.
Okay.
It's
then-
also Fibromyalgia Month and
And
Domestic
breast-
Violence
and
Month.
breast
or
cancer
something.
awareness.
Yes.
Then don't know of any is really important
I think
because
so, too.
people don't know about it.
Oh.
And I suggested, and you said we could talk about this, I guess, for
Yeah,
next year.
I
That
think
we should sponsor something here.
Okay.
we certainly could.
Okay,
Since this is October, that gives us a whole
Yeah,
year to.
never mind.
Okay. Are we back on track with number 22?
22 is what might prevent you
Yep.
from taking part in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
23?
Which, if any of the following statements apply to you, I have a network of, yeah, I'm good with that.
23, opportunities, right?
Where?
Plenty of I don't know, is that grammatically right? I don't know,
Which, if any, of the following statements apply to you?
the person.
I have a network of friends and have plenty of opportunity. Yeah, I would get rid of have. The second have.
I don't think that's what you.
I
No.
have a network of
Is it
friends
supposed to be opportunities?
and plenty of,
No, opportunity can be a mass noun.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could be
Just
either
checking.
one, yeah.
so just get rid of the second word have?
No, that wouldn't be right.
That's what I would do.
Huh?
So that would read, I have a network of friends and plenty of opportunity to socialize.
I think it's up in the
Okay.
air.
Or you could change it to opportunities. Either way, I think would
I
be
get
all
what
right.
you're saying. No, you're right. I don't know why I bother arguing.
Okay. So are we good with the rest of that one?
I am.
Mhm.
Everyone else.
24?
What is the best part of living in Easthampton? Yeah.
Is
I'm
that
good
the
with
same?
I'm
We
sorry.
asked earlier, what's the best part of living in Easthampton with disabilities?
Oh.
And we asked that earlier.
Sorry, in 23, we didn't give an option to people that don't socialize at all, because that's pretty common. 23, because a lot.
Oh.
Oh, yes, we did.
Well, we don't have a like,
Wait.
I don't
I don't.
want to socialize. We don't
Okay,
have an option
all
that
right,
says
yeah,
that.
my bad. I mean, I feel like this
I
is
have
our longest
I have
meeting
no
ever.
desire to socialize.
No.
Well, you know, I, truthfully speaking, if I were to answer that
You're like,
question,
I picked that
I would
box
answer
right
it,
there.
I have plenty of friends and I have plenty of opportunities.
So the people
And I
leave you
don't
alone.
socialize.
Right.
I have the opportunities, but I don't
And I
use
don't.
them. You know? All right, so 23 is okay.
Yeah. But
20,
24, Kathy, yeah, I remember there being another
So-
question that was
We
like.
asked,
which, does anybody know which number that was?
it was
Oh, there was the
early.
one Jeff wrote, right? What's the best part?
I
was
think
up
it was
near
like
the top.
14 or something like that. 14, what are the
Yeah.
best parts about living in Easthampton with a disability?
Right, so it's already,
So,
Is
as
that-
opposed to,
What's the best part of living in Easthampton?
and that's an open-ended question. So we'll get rid of 14? Although,
Well, no.
should
No,
get rid of
'cause
the
I think
open-ended?
That gives the person with a disability who has a positive experience to express that in 14. I have a disability, I'm in a wheelchair, and I really appreciate the fact that
Okay.
there are so many crosswalks and curb cuts and.
I think we should get rid of 24.
So get rid of 24.
Because that's really the same thing for this
Right.
particular person we're asking these questions of.
All right, so then 25 is that similar, is that different enough then from number 15?
right,
The challenges you face on a day-to-day basis while living in Easthampton, and then what is 15?
And 15 is what are the worst parts about living in Easthampton with a disability?
Yeah, I don't think it's, yeah, I think we should get rid of 25 too.
Or maybe change, I agree with that, but maybe change the wording a little bit of 15 to ask about accessibility-related challenges. Just be more specific.
oh yeah, the
perhaps.
So-
details, yeah.
What are the worst,
Could we move it to?
what are the
there?
worst, instead of parts, put accessibility related?
Yeah, I was just moving some of the language in
Right, so
25 to
What are the
15.
worst, accessibility related
What are
challenges?
some of the biggest challenges rather than worst
Word, right, where's
parts
this
of
at?
living?
Is that Jeff's word?
Okay,
Because, I mean, what are the worst parts? Could be, like
so
neighbors' noise or.
what are the,
What did you say? Did you say
See,
most
which one?
difficult?
all right, we're going to move,
I was just,
we're gonna leave 15 but reword it
Okay.
with number 25, okay? It's gonna go to, what are the biggest accessibility related challenges you face on a day-to-day basis while living in Easthampton? Yes? Is good?
Sounds good.
that's
Okay.
the gist. If anybody wants to change the words, it doesn't, it's okay with me. So. Oh, I like this one. Is there any place you avoid?
Hmm.
Number 26, is there any location, et cetera, that you currently avoid?
I was just wondering if we could put it closer to the list. It's kind of far away.
Oh, the,
Mm-hmm.
No, to 16. Can we put it closer to 16? Because you're asking,
Yeah.
I mean, this is asking
Yeah.
for details
Put
about
number 26
close, yeah.
up
Put
to
that after 16.
after 16.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a perfect place for it.
Okay.
Does the comment box have a certain number of letters, do you know, or like, I mean, can they type a big
I
paragraph?
don't know, to
Okay.
tell you the truth.
Usually they do. I don't know if in this case.
It's not
but-
like Twitter. I've never used it.
Well, you know,
140
it could
characters.
vary, be a limit of 250 or 500 characters or whatever. We'll have, that's
Okay.
something that we may very well have a choice
Okay.
over to determine how much information we want to collect. I don't know. I'm guessing that they make some sort of allowance for that.
So does that mean 27 should be moved too, or no? Because you were just talking about friends, so should 27 go under the list, so
27 is,
it's a big project.
yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Does it make sense where it is now? Maybe.
you know, it certainly wouldn't be out of place if we moved it. It would sort of fit in with the flow of information. So we think we should move it?
I do, but
I think I think it'd be fine either way. So, yeah. if you wanna
Move it to, make it 18? After the ones we just added?
After number 16, and then
so that should be right.
So that
we're
would be
sliding
17.
26
And
at the end of 16,
Right.
and then
27,
put 27 after that.
and then it starts talking about events, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in 27, people with disabilities should not be capitalized.
Okay.
You know, if people watch this, they're gonna we should have told them to get popcorn. This is the meeting's probably the longest meeting we've ever had. We should have told them to get popcorn to begin with.
Does anybody have anything
Sit
to
back
bring?
and watch the.
You should have told them like,
I did ask the
Buckle
gas
up.
company to come after 12, so.
if you need something to help you get to sleep, watch this meeting.
That's right.
Okay, so that's actually the end of the survey, except for the part about disability discrimination. So are we all set with parts 1 and 2 now?
I think so.
I don't wanna see the
Okay.
bar again.
I think so.
Eli, is there anything blatant in section 3 that we need to address grammatically or whatever?
Yes.
I've got a few here too.
Okay, in the, let's see, threat of physical assault, comma, vandalism, property damage, comma, et cetera.
Assault, comma, vandalism.
Examples of indirect bullying can include, not includes.
Huh?
Or,
Example.
wait, what does it say? Oh, no, maybe that's some
Examples of-
extra space. Okay. Can include, that's a colon, yeah, so the colon is the colon doesn't belong there.
You know, you would think the goddamn British, pardon my French, should have figured out that the colon didn't belong there.
Well, maybe they have a different standard, maybe in British, they do put the colon there.
Okay, so who's doing it correctly? The British or the Americans?
I know.
Well, it's a matter of convention, so they have different conventions in England than in the United States.
Examples of indirect harassment or bullying can include, no punctuation there?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there is a list. which could follow a colon.
But,
But
the,
I'm not gonna argue that.
yeah, no, so,
I'm just saying, sometimes it
Yeah.
is correct.
in my understanding, you use a colon if you wanna add something onto an otherwise complete sentence, which could be a list. But here, this isn't the end of a complete sentence.
To use to separate two independent clauses when the second explains or illustrates the first. Okay.
All right, let's see, and then in 28,
Yeah,
I would say, if no, skip the rest of this section, instead of you do not need to continue answering this section.
Could we go back just a minute?
Sure.
Shouldn't there be, are we considering bullying and harassment as two different things here? Indirect bullying / harassment? Because in the previous paragraph, we say harassment or bullying.
Yeah.
okay. So you're on number 28,
Yes.
Right.
yes? Okay. And direct or indirect bullying, we either need a slash or an or. Which do you want? Or?
I put an or.
And then,
Comma.
yes, if no comma.
It should be like you said, please skip to number.
And then skip to whatever number that turns out to be, since we've rearranged some things. Rather than saying, you do not need to continue answering this section. If no, skip to question number,
Or is this the last
Okay,
part?
Skip to the end.
this section ends the survey.
Yeah.
There
Okay, so
is
there's nothing to
nothing
skip
beyond
to.
these questions about harassment and bullying.
okay, then you're through.
Well,
Continue.
unless.
I mean-
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I would say like,
This survey then.
skip to the end of the survey or something.
Well, there's nothing at the end.
Well, there would be a submit button.
Oh. Yes, there was.
So, okay, so
Please.
if you do not you do not need to continue answering this section,
No.
go to, and I'll
Please.
put in whatever
Please
the
go
go-to is going to be.
Yeah.
Except, I wonder, I made a note on number 30, asking if your school, college, workplace has a publicized policy. Should everybody answer that question? Whether or not I've been bullied or harassed,
Oh, you need
Well-
to move it.
maybe move it to the end.
You know, schools, colleges, and workplaces are supposed to be required by law to have publicized policies regarding disabilities.
But do I know that? Do I know there's a law, and do I know whether or not it's been publicized enough so that most of us know about it?
I
Well,
thought you were
in
just
this-
asking if it shouldn't be in the bullying place, because everybody needs to answer that. Isn't that what you were asking?
No, I was saying, should everybody, I've got moved to the end. I was doing this last night pretty late, and so that might, I'm open, but what I did have is that maybe everybody should answer this 30, even people who have not been bullied.
Is the policy a bullying policy?
Yeah, I mean,
It's not just a how to, it's a bullying.
if you,
Every
Experience
workplace, yeah, I don't care if it's your
I thought it was
local
just the
restaurant on the
laws.
corner.
Yeah.
Any place that has employees is supposed to have a written policy.
But what's the policy on? That's what I'm asking. Is it laws or is it
It's-
bullying?
is it a law, or is it just something that, a policy that the workplace,
Well, if it
Will not
wasn't a law,
tolerate.
people wouldn't be required to do it.
No, in other words,
I
is it a law that
So-
they have to have one, or is it a law of what it has to be?
I just don't know if it goes.
The
in-
policy has to indicate what measures the person being harassed or bullied
Right.
needs
Okay.
to take in order to solve the problem.
Okay.
Got it, okay. So can we say publicize bullying policy? Cause I thought you were talking about an 88 poster.
Okay, the thing is that they,
Oh, you know what?
you know, if you employ more than one person and you have a break room, these policies are supposed to be in plain sight on some sort of notification or bulletin board kind of thing.
Right, okay,
And they're supposed to be included in any documents that a potential employee is filling out or reading. These policies are supposed to be, if not actually given you a hard copy,
Right.
you have to be able to read it and sign a statement saying that you are aware of what the policies are. So, now, as to your question, I don't know. Maybe it could be,
Did you? Oh, no, here it is. Number 31.
Oh,
If you were being bullied at work, wouldn't we want everybody to answer that?
I'm sorry, if you were being bullied at work,
At work, school, or college, where would you go for help and support? Wouldn't we want to ask everybody that? And we've already told people who said, I haven't been bullied, they don't have to go on to the
Right.
rest of the
that's a good point.
survey.
that was a good point.
'Cause I think knowing whether or not you have a publicized policy, and that one should be answered
So-
by everybody.
So 30 and 31 should go before 28.
Right. So,
Yeah,
one,
okay. So is that what we're gonna do, move 30 and 31?
maybe we should move,
And 32. Oh,
32,
32 and 33.
33,
Yeah,
move those up also,
yeah, good point.
and then, yeah. And then move 28, 29 down. And so that it will go 28, well, it won't be 28 anymore. It would be 30, 32 would be, have you ever experienced direct or indirect bullying? 33 would then be, where, where did these incidents happen? So that 28, if you haven't experienced any of these things, you don't need to continue.
Right.
And those would be the questions: did you report it? If you reported it, what was, were you satisfied with the outcome or whatever?
Right.
And so then if they were to answer no to have you ever experienced anything, we would then refer them to number 37 if you have any additional comments. Right?
What, say it again?
Yes.
If they answer no and don't have to complete the
Right.
remaining questions about the reporting and all of that, we would refer them to number 37 which is if you have any additional comments or
Oh.
concerns.
Oh, yeah, so it wouldn't be skipped to the end, it would be skipped to question 37.
Right.
Yeah, okay, right, good.
And that's the last question?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so now, in 29, as it's numbered here,
Okay.
again, can we change pub to bar?
I'm sorry?
Pub against a bar. 'cause-
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, where it says, in the area where I live, what do we mean by that? What counts as the?
I don't mean anything by it. It's what they mean by it.
Well, but I mean, like, does that mean a building, a neighborhood, a town, a part, a region, I mean,
Okay, so change that to my neighborhood.
that sounds good.
Huh?
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
All right. And in 31, we capitalize lecturer. And I can't read this word that I crossed out, but whatever word this is, can we get rid of this?
Okay. Would you feel unable to ask for help and support?
What, yeah, that whole thing is, in place of work instead of, oh, in your
In your
place,
place.
in your place, okay. Would you feel unable, what did you cross out?
I crossed out would you feel instead of unable.
Just unable to ask for help?
Yeah, because it's not a separate question, it's, I want to, like, so that it looks more like part of the list. All right,
How about it, well, in support, to ask for help and support in your place of work or study?
yeah,
So
that's.
I would feel unable to ask for help or support in my place of work or study, yes.
Okay, and then.
Did that take care of it for everybody?
Me?
Okay,
Okay,
so any more on 31?
no,
Okay, we're next.
35A,
Yep.
if you answered yes to, instead of the above question, can we say what the actual question number is? It'd be question 34, but if we renumber it might not, when we
Right.
renumber it might not.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's see. So we should,
Well, no, I guess.
that
it
should
would
be
still
30, that should be 34A instead of 35A. You think? Move.
Oh. Yeah, oh. If you chose not to report it, what were your reasons?
Yes.
Oh, so, well, then it would be
Mhm.
if you answered.
So we'll move it up under 34. If you answered yes to the above question, were you satisfied with the outcome?
That would be 30, okay, that would be 34A.
Or- Yeah.
And then 35 would be 34B, is that?
No, 35 would be 35.
Oh.
If you
'cause
chose not to report it, what were your reasons?
why would that be separate? Because they're both about the answer to 34. They're both elaborating on 34.
I really don't care what the number is. I mean, you know,
Right, I get what you're
if you think we should call it number 34B, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're numbering them with the A's and the B's, then I don't think we need to do that, but if we are doing that, then they should all be.
That was sort of just a convenient way for me to shove questions around into
Oh, I see.
better order.
Oh, okay, well
So-
then never mind, that doesn't matter. Okay. And then 36, what do we mean by local area? Or is it, do you have any suggestions regarding disability discrimination in your local area and how you could feel safer?
So we should change it to Easthampton.
Well, that's what the whole survey is about.
So we'll change it to Easthampton.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so it will read, do you have any suggestions regarding disability discrimination in Easthampton? And in Easthampton and how you could feel safer.
Okay. And 37, comma after concerns. And that's all I have.
Okay. Are we done?
My only question is, could it be or how you could feel safer?
I'm sorry, what?
So 36, could it be or how you could feel safer?
Do you have any
Because
questions?
if you have an idea
regarding
about feeling safer, but it doesn't relate to
discrimination?
discrimination.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or
Instead-
how you could feel safer? Is that what you want?
Yes, please. I now have no brain cells left. That was all of them for a week.
Okay, yeah. All right, so with the current changes we've done now, we're done?
It's looking good.
I think we're done.
I think we're done too.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to accept this with the changes we made?
I could make a motion. I'm not motioning anything.
I think,
So-
I think Eli should make.
Okay,
no-
I move to approve the survey as amended.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hooray.
All right, I know,
I'm not getting yelled at.
I know
by
this
anybody. I'm
was-
staying out of
I
it.
know this was really frustrating for all of us, and I just think we should acknowledge that and just thank you everyone for,
I agree.
For-
Thank
for,
you, everyone.
for.
And
Can I get a
Jim,
motion to adjourn?
and Jim for his
I can motion to adjourn,
patience.
absolutely.
I second.
All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Yay. Okay, shut that off.